With his arms propped on the hood of his rusted '73 Jeep, Wade Dooley wondered whether farmers are repressed artists whose creativity comes out the wrong way, canvases that span square miles, scoured of life that would introduce chance into the image or jeopardize its totalizing precision. So in this metaphor, the millions of tons of ammonia fertilizer and pesticides that Iowan farmers douse their fields in are the mineral spirits which fix the colors in place, colors that bloom sterilized with no chance of cross-pollination. Farmers wear masks when they knife the fertilizer into soil. They drag giant tanks of the liquid behind their tractors. When the chemical hits air, it vaporizes. They call it putting on smoke. A poignant phrase because anhydrous ammonia is a primary ingredient in meth labs that populate small towns like Wade's. Wade still grows some corn, but this field, this incidental drawing, had rye before it was harvested. The chance that a farmer anywhere in Iowa is growing anything but corn or soy is virtually zero. But Wade is one of the good farmers. And by good, I mean he questions himself. And by questions, I mean...
We aren't that rational. We like to pretend we are. And it makes a much better story if we are rational.
Sure.
Or rather, it paints us in a much better light if we were the rational beings.
Sure.
We're not. We're emotional. We're ridiculous. We get attached to the silliest things, like this piece of shit Jeep. I mean, come on, it's a 1973 Rust Bucket.
It's pretty cool.
It's got a V8 that sucks gas like nothing I've ever owned. It gets 11 miles to the gallon. And I love the stupid thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
That's not rational.
He wasn't supposed to return to his family farm. No one in his generation was. They were all told to get jobs in the city after the collective trauma of the farm crisis in the 80s, catastrophic farm foreclosures, and rampant farmer suicides. When Wade told me the phrase, "putting on smoke," he had a faraway look in his eye, a love of the language and the mechanics of his profession, even the farmers he despised. People foolish enough and sentimental enough to submit their entire lives to the same unwinnable business he chose above all others.
There is nothing more seductive than next year. A better crop next year. A better chance next year.
Because the seeds and the seed spreading and the burning, that's the gardening of the prairie, you know. It's not
Nurturing new plants through the process of success.
Yeah. Letting it almost carry it, you know.
Looking at what they kind of made a difference.
It's amazing. Look at that. I don't see one damn person.
Well, you know, yeah, this is kind of where I'm going to release a group.
Yeah, set them free into that. Frolic, people.
Yeah, just right around to the corner.
About 10 miles west of Wade Dooley, 10 miles east of the geographic center of Iowa, my friend Carl Kurtz has spent the last 40 years returning his family land to the diverse native prairie that existed in Iowa before European settlers overturned it. Every fall, Carl combines the seed of the prairie plants, which he sells and gives away to anyone interested in starting one of their own. Unlike corn, there's great variability in the amount of seed he will harvest each year. This is partially due to the fact that over time, Carl's vision of agriculture has become less about how he can alter the land to shape his own vision, and more about how the prairie has altered his vision. And if there's a metaphor to be made about Carl's land as a curated image, photography seems more appropriate than painting. Carl's farm is a resurrected image of what Iowa looked like 200 years ago. an image whose contours and gradients are written in the 150 species of plants he raises. Carl set the development in motion when he stopped extracting nutrients from the soil, but he didn't know what image would form. So few photos exist from Iowa's tallgrass prairie before the 1850s that there's no telling how close or far the resurrection resembles the original. It's a ghost image, a carbon copy, or a composite in which the colors drift, bleed, and settle. Carl, in his 70s, still weeds invasives by hand, still sprays Roundup from his 4x4. But his primary tool, fire, is the light which watches, inscribes, then reveals season after season. It wasn't Carl's idea, it wasn't anyone's, but indigenous tribes who lived here 1,000 years before Europeans knew. And the land remembers. Set the development in motion, and the image creates itself. Knowledge dies and then dies again, but the land remembers what it was.